Mooresville taxpayers on the hook for paying people who don't even work for their town anymore. That's after town commissioners stroked a check for nearly $100,000 to the town's former planning director in order to avoid a lengthier legal battle.
Investigative reporter David Hodges is here in studio with us to break down the latest in this Mooresville saga. So, David, you reported on. There have been several lawsuits involving ex-employees there. So is this one that you've already reported on?
Yeah, it was not. It kind of caught me off guard even. The town's former planning director left suddenly last summer, and apparently it was not on the best of terms. Here's how this was revealed following a town board meeting last Monday.
Town reports that a settlement was considered in closed session and that the town entered into a settlement agreement with Erika Martin in the amount of $99,900.
$100,000. Now, the nature and the settlement of the allegations will remain confidential because this was part of an equal employment opportunity pre-complaint process. And the most common reason for those, I have to say, is retaliation. I've reported on 4 other lawsuits involving ex-employees who allege they've also been retaliated against. All of those situations either revolving around incidents with Mayor Chris Carney or Police Chief Ron Camperchani. And of course, WBTV has filed its own lawsuit against the town of Mooresville to get video of the mayor in town hall from the after hours from October of 2024. A judge ruled in favor of WBTV, but the town decided to appeal that order. So I watched those closed session minutes pretty closely, and that's how we caught that one right there.
So now this is really interesting. This money doesn't just come out of nowhere, does it?
No.
Where's it coming from?
These are coming from taxpayers every single time. And that's why we actually filed a record request to see how much the town is spending on legal fees in our own lawsuit. They've hired a private law firm for that. I'm still waiting to get those records back, but it's an important thing for town residents to be thinking about. If they're getting sued by one former employee after another, these often come with settlements. These often come with legal fees. It costs taxpayers money.
And we don't really know the reason why.
No, we don't know the reason why. When they settle like this, most of it stays confidential, unfortunately.
So much more to watch, and I know many people in the town of Mooresville also want some answers, and David, of course, will stay on top of it.
Of course we will.
David, thank you.